Hey, it's Scott ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for you. Going to be talking about the actual release of Diablo 4. This is not a full-blown review. I have not completed the game more than once to give you a whole review, but I did play 2 of the 3 beta tests. I have been playing Diablo since 1997, and I've put a lot of hours into it already in the first week of its release, so I would like to give you my thoughts on it. If you've never played a Diablo game, they play kind of like a Legend of Zelda. They're very action-oriented. Whether you're playing on a computer or a console, you basically walk around with one stick or keyboard and you pound on things with either a button or a mouse. It's very simple. You get a lot of loot, you kill a lot of things, you get overwhelmed by a lot of things. They find the right balance with each one of these games. They've done a great job with, I just need to play a little bit more. I just need to go a little bit further. They're very simple to play. You would think you would get bored with this, but it's the right amount of loot that you get and experience and other stuff, and your character grows more powerful, like any role-playing game, but it's very action-oriented. I am a turn-based player. I love games like XCOM or Civilization, where I can take my time and strategize. This is, of the 3 games that I've played most in my life, the Diablo games, the Civilization games, and the XCOM games, this is the only action-oriented one. The other 2 are slow-paced, turn-based strategy games that I usually play before bed to relax. Diablo is not that game. Diablo has always been a time suck. It's always been, I got to get my character more powerful. I got to find better swords, better loot, better armor, more money so I can buy more things, so I can upgrade things, get more powerful, all that kind of stuff. So, if you haven't played all the Diablo games, I don't know what to tell you. Start here. Sure, it's the best version. I've been playing since the beginning, and each one gets better. Diablo 1 was great. I've made friends that I've kept all these years. Diablo 2, fantastic. Even better game, bigger, more fun. Diablo 3 came out over 11 years ago. We've been playing Diablo 3 for that long, 11 years. One of my friends said, what took them so long to make another game? Well, they were still making stuff for Diablo 3. It's not like they just stopped. It just came out and that was it, like a lot of games. No, different seasons, different content, add-ons, all sorts of stuff. They've supported Diablo 3 all the way up until the release of Diablo 4. Blizzard does that. They're that company. So I was invited to 3 of the beta tests. I participated in 2 of them. The first one I did not. The second one I did, and I played a lot. I played an entire weekend, over 20-something hours. I earned the pre-order bonuses and stuff. And then they gave us one more server slam right before the game came out, and I played that a little bit. The game has improved since the betas, I will tell you that. They did not show us everything in the betas. Well, first of all, they limited on how far you could go and what you could do, but they also limited some of the interactions, some of the video stuff, some of the story, all that. Not everything was available. Not everything was fleshed out. Things have changed. The look of things a little bit, the maps, how it works. Another reason why Diablo has staying power is because it's randomized. The layouts of the overland, the layouts of the dungeons, all that stuff is randomized when you go into it, when you play a new game. So each game is not a markedly super different game, but things are in different places. Different things happen. Sometimes they swap out gear. Sometimes they swap out bad guys, that kind of thing. You might get to a section, you played this section on the first playthrough and it was all zombies through here. The next time it's all something else. It's one of the things that have made those games great and last so long is because every experience is a different experience. What also makes them great is you can play with friends. Now, that would be the biggest complaint that I have, because this is one of those persistent online games. So when you go into town, you're seeing people, you're having to connect to the internet. And here in Alaska, we don't have the fastest internet speeds. Not everybody has fiber, unfortunately. I don't. And so when I'm in town, sometimes I'm doing that multiplayer thing where I get a little lag and it's jumpy and stuff. And I hate that. And I really don't think if I want to play a single player game, I need to log into the multiplayer version of the game and then go single player. That seems backwards to me, but I understand why it's built that way. And I understand why many games have been built that way. Years ago, there was a Diablo clone that came out. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I pre-ordered it even. It didn't last. It was a first-person version of Diablo in a cyberpunk future. It was really well done, but it worked on a hub system. It couldn't have grown much beyond what they needed to spend more time on it. They launched it. Not all the online stuff worked. But again, it was a persistent online thing where anytime you were in the world, you could meet up with somebody else and invite them. I think that's great. But again, I played Diablo sometimes as a single player experience, sometimes as a multiplayer experience. But I liked it back in the day where I could choose before I went in. Because if you play single player, it doesn't connect to the internet. You don't get any lag. You don't get any strangers in town, that kind of stuff. This one doesn't give you an option. You just log into the game. In town, you're going to run into some strangers. Once you get out and about and once you get into dungeons, you're not. Only in town. My buddy was kind of worried about that. You're going to have to play with other... No, and there are other games that have tried that. You know, you're playing in the game at the same time everybody else is. And I just... Bleh. So I'm glad they've worked it out the well it does, but still for some of us that don't have the fastest internet connections, when you're in town and you're connecting with people from all over the world, I saw people from New Zealand last night in my server, you know, there's laggy, jumpy stuff going on, and I really don't need that in a single player experience. But I do plan to play Diablo with others. Now, as someone who's played Diablo for a long time, this is the best version of it. I don't think they've broken anything. I would also say, as someone who played the betas on both Tier 1 and Tier 2, which is Veteran, we weren't prepared fully for Tier 2. I started the purchased version, the actual alpha release of the game, started playing a Rogue, started playing on Tier 2 Veteran, and I've gotten to some places that I easily cleared on Tier 1 as a beginner, as a basic normal setting. And I've gotten back to those same places on Tier 2, and I can't do anything with them. I die a lot. I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need to go get better stuff. I'm going to need to come back later when I'm stronger. The game does an incredible job at scaling. The dungeon that I was going to visit when I was level 15 now says it's level 17 when I come back when I'm level 17. They do scale just about everything in the game. I haven't played any online yet, so I can't talk to that, but I will be. I've got a buddy who I met on Diablo 1. He's a Canadian guy. We're still friends. We plan to play, get our Discord servers going, and be able to talk while we're playing and all that kind of stuff. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. And I plan to spend some time this weekend. We're expecting a rainy weekend here, so I plan to get a lot more into it. But the full version of the game is much better than the betas. It plays better. It's smoother. The action is great. The story is great. It's the best version of Diablo, and I've been really jumping into it the last couple of days, and I haven't even scratched the surface of the area. Unlike the previous games where you had acts, I don't know that this does. It looks like you have a much bigger world here, and as I started to explore, sometimes I just, let's walk this way and see how far I can go. I would get to areas that were above my level. It would say, this is really for 20th level people, and I was 15th level or whatever. So I would go back and it doesn't push you as much as other Diablos to finish everything in an area. You can really go around and do whatever you want. So I'm focusing on clearing things, completely clearing dungeons, completely clearing areas of the map, that kind of stuff. I'm finding I get better gear that way. From a gameplay perspective, a graphic perspective, zero complaints. I am not one who buys games when they first came out a lot of time. I can wait till they go on sale, especially if I'm going to play single player. But the more I thought about Diablo and the more I played the betas and you know, got ready for this, why would I not spend money on a game that I've played for over 2.5 decades? So if you are a Diablo fan, you've already bought Diablo 4. If you haven't, it's the best version of the game. It's an addictive role-playing, action-oriented game that's got a lot of loot and a multiplayer component that really works. You probably don't have as slow an internet connection as I do, and you won't have the stuttering in towns that I have. But other than that, so far so great. I will come back and do a full review as I get more into it. The story's fine. I don't play Diablo for the story. You know, other games I do. I want to know what's happening with these characters. That's not why I play Diablo. It's for the action. It's for the gameplay. The gameplay is so buttery smooth. It's so Diablo. It's an addictive thing to play. Again, a lot of games I play are for the strategy or for the story. I play Diablo for the action, hands down. Grabbing the loot, selling stuff in town, upgrading things, repairing things. I like the action role-playing game. I don't play a lot of them anymore, but I'm glad I made time for Diablo because it's worth every penny and you should pick it up immediately. I'll be back with a full review probably a month from now when I've had time to play through several of the characters. I did enjoy playing the Druid, which will be my next thing. I've never really played Necromancers in any of the previous games, so I'm going to try that this time around. That's not my gameplay style. I'm more of a melee and the occasional spell or arrow kind of guy. But anyway. Now I'm getting into Dungeons and Dragons type terminology. Sorry about geeking out for you. If you have not played Diablo before, go ahead and pick up 4. Well, pick up 3 and try it. You can get it cheap these days. And if you have played Diablo, well, you've already bought 4, and I'm preaching to the choir. Thanks for listening, and have a spectacular day. Go play a video game. It'll make you feel better.